Hi, everybody. I'm Perry Siegel. I'm a board member of CLA, and I'm a technology attorney and consultant. And this is my colleague.
Hi, Perry. My name is Michael Iseri. I'm a legal technology attorney and disability rights. I'm currently at the Legal Aid Society of San Bernardino as the Director of Legal Services for Disability Rights and Legal Applications Architecture.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay.
So we're doing a summary of our course that we're giving here at the meeting, which is legal cybersecurity myth busting, where we talk about a lot of the new developments in technology that new lawyers need to know about. And the reason we're doing this is because the most important thing you need to know as a new lawyer is that there's an ethical rule that requires competence in anything that you do as a lawyer. And that means that you need to be competent in technology and technology law. Or if you need help, then you need to hire somebody who can help you when you have a situation like that. So that's the whole basis of this. So Mike, where are you going to start?
Oh, I'll jump right into USB cables, which is an interesting device that if you plug into your laptop or computer or desktop, it can actually fry the systems. That's a topic that we'll be discussing about not plugging random devices into your computer. And there's a company out in, I believe, UK or somewhere in Europe. You can buy these for about $50 to $70 with free shipping, and that's actually what happened at some places where people were just disgruntled and frying up computers. So that's something in which we will discuss about not to plug in devices that should not be plugged in.
It reminds me of that virus issue, Stuxnet. They were able to insert and run a virus through a complete computer system. That's something you may have heard of.
And then I guess you wanted to touch upon password management.
That's right. The most important thing to know is your biggest risk in security, believe it or not, is the human resources. That's where your risk is mostly, is the people that work with you. And so passwords are probably the number one level of security. And you would be amazed to know that, seriously, even at this time, the word password or the word password 123 are the most common passwords used by people. In our presentation, I show the top 20 PIN numbers that we know that people use, and 75% of the people in our audience will use one of those PIN numbers. That's how predictable people are. Now, for me, when I deal with passwords, of course you want to be able to remember it, but I usually just recommend that the first thing you do is think of something that you want to do, relative, brother, whatever it is, and then lie. Make up a phony one, okay? Not use the real one, because the point is people find out about your passwords by going out to Facebook and looking at things like your family members as things like that, and then trying to apply those. So if you never tell the truth about it, they'll never be able to figure it out. And then the key is to mix up your passwords, capital letters, lowercase, numbers, characters, and every character that you add makes that password much more difficult for a hacker to break. So minimum 8 characters or bigger.
Mm-hmm. That's correct, and I usually like to add on, and we will be discussing more at the panel, of using more of a code-based type of password system and use buffer filler characters in it. It's something that we can't really describe right now, but what we can talk about is a new topic which we will be addressing, deepfakes. And those are type of video alterations or audio alterations in which you can actually trick people into believing something happened when it was digitally edited. Deepfakes is becoming more and more of a thing, especially with the coming 2020 elections, and it's something that is huge. And one of our examples that we'll be showing at the panel will be just a video about having the movie The Shining, and that someone replaced Jack Nicholson's character with Jim Carrey's face. It's almost to the point it's convincing on consumer grade level. So these are the programs in which you and I and anyone else can use. Now imagine when you have a state power or government entity to sponsor and fund endless amounts, or even Hollywood. One of my favorite classic examples of a deep fake It's actually an old-time movie, I guess, for us younger people, Forrest Gump. And it's something in which you may not realize, but they digitally insert Tom Hanks throughout all these different historical events, and that's considered deep fake. But now in these days, it's not about altering the entire video, but rather altering one or two sounds or words throughout the presentation to make it more of a negative connotation. And it's more of a subliminal type of stuff, or does it more outrageous implication? And that's something that's exciting, just as exciting as a upcoming topic about legal AIs. Do you want to jump right into that? Or?
Before I do, I wanted to say a few things about mobile security, because that's a bit separate from your desktops and laptops, and there's special things that you need to think about. And at this point, even in our profession, we found the stats show us that more than 50% of the people who access our resources are doing so on mobile. So tablets and phones are critical right now for security. And things that I can tell you about is a lot of people don't realize that you can get the same kind of virus detection and firewall type protection for your cell device, for example, or your tablet, and that you should actually go out and look and see what's available to you. All the major cell companies, if your tablet, for example, is a cell device as well, they make their own systems that are free and automatic. And these are things that you should think about adding to your phone, because they're just as vulnerable to viruses as desktops and laptops. Also, something that you can look out for, this is a little bit interesting, but it's good to keep an eye on, is most of your phones will tell you, for example, how much data is going in and out of your device. And you should keep an eye on that, because if somebody has hacked your device, what you'll find is a huge amount of data is all of a sudden leaving your device. And that's because the hacker is downloading your information. So it's not a bad idea to glance at this once in a while and make sure that that isn't happening to you. So I just wanted to throw that in before I take it back to you for a little AI to finish us up.
Oh, definitely. Thank you for that. This is a topic that I just absolutely love. I program my own legal AIs. So we hear all these buzz terms about AIs, blockchain, cryptocurrencies, and that's something that we would definitely address in our panel, but we don't have time now. However, we can leave you off on about how I've defined about 3 main components of what an artificial intelligence AI is about. One, you have more of the human interface component. That's often referred to a chatbot. A chatbot is not necessarily an AI, but it's a human interface that interacts with people. It can also be voice, like Alexa and other online devices. You have a second component called the IA tools. That's intelligent automation tools. Those are the actual components that a program does. It's like the hands, the feet, the actual thinking, analysis. That's common referred to like components such as OCR, or image, optic reading devices, or searching algorithms. Then there's the third component, that's the machine learning aspect. That's what the machine learning is not a component by itself, rather it helps improve on the human interface and the IA tools without the programmer's intervention. It's supposed to streamline and optimize a program. When you have those 3, you have a simple AI. When you have multiple components of those interacting with each other, you have a more sophisticated AI. To me, and this is more like theoretical, we don't have a true AI right now. A true AI will be something that a program will be able to create its own IA tools from scratch, rather than being programmed to learn something, which we are doing right now. It would be able to go out and do it. For you and I, we can actually learn how to play the piano tomorrow. For a program, it has to be programmed to try to do that. Until a program can play or try to play the piano without it being prodded or instigated, then it's not a true AI. But we hear these terms of AIs and other technology being thrown around, but those are really, if you break it down, that's how you can and that analyze and understand what type of these programs are actually doing. Do we have anything else to add? Or?
Yeah, just as we're running to the end of our time, we're going to have some fun in our program. And so for those who are coming, you'll find out about it there. For those who can't, hopefully you'll look for our program online. But what I'm going to illustrate is I'm taking a logical puzzle from 50 years ago, which involves a murder. And they give you some facts, but then they give you 5 questions about those facts that don't seem to make any sense. But if you spend about 20 minutes figuring them out, you will actually find out the names of all the people involved, their professions, where they're sitting in the room, and who the murderer is. And the illustration of this is that AI does. That's what AI really tries to do, is take random information and make sense out of it. But while it would take you 20 to 30 minutes to do this, AI would do it at the snap of the fingers. So just keep that in mind, and we hope you'll check out our program. And thanks very much for spending 10 minutes with us.
Definitely.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Perry.